Hello everyone, welcome to Crafting with Logan. My name's Logan and today we're making salt dough creations. I'm putting a bit of a Christmas spin on mine because next month is the holiday month of December. Ooh. And I thought I'd make you a fun, not edible craft that starts in the kitchen and ends up in the craft room. So what you're going to need today is a big bowl to mix our dough in. Going to need a spoon or some other mixing device, and then if you want, you can use a rolling pin. I didn't have a rolling pin until like this summer, so otherwise you can just sort of stretch your dough if you want. Then we're doing a cup of cold water, a cup of salt, yes, a whole cup of salt, and that's what makes this not edible, and 2 cups of flour, and I also have a baking sheet with some parchment paper on it. So we're just gonna start by getting our 2 cups of flour in the bowl. Open this up. And so the thing about salt dough is it's extremely hard. That's what the salt's for. And then we use the dough, form it into shapes, and then you get to paint on it once it's all cooked and cooled. And then if you want, you can add a finish to it and then they can last a really long time, or you can just use them for that year and then get rid of them later on. So I've got my 2 cups of flour in there. Just need my cup of salt. And yeah, I tried a little bit of the dough last time we made these. And yeah, it was awful. Yeah, you do not consume this. Don't, not even a little. So we've got a whole, cup of salt here. I'm gonna pour it in there, my goodness. And then you're just gonna wanna mix the two until they're combined. It's gonna be kinda hard to tell. And then we're going to want to slowly, a few tablespoons at a time, add in our water. So you just want to incorporate it just a little at a time. So say that's about a tablespoon. And then we'll just do this for a minute or so until it's completely combined. All the parts are there, and we're just going to take our time. Okay, and we have our dough. It's looking weird and smelling salty. And now we have to knead it. And what kneading is when you work the dough with your, I guess, palms of your hand to kind of get it to form gluten, which kind of gives it its structure. So whenever you make anything like bread or pizza dough or whatever, you have to knead it so that it kind of gets the texture that it gets when it bakes. So the way we're gonna knead it is we're just gonna take a flat surface and we're going to spread a little bit of flour on so that the dough doesn't stick, because our dough is really sticky right now, so you want to make sure you get a little flour down, and you might have to apply more flour after as well. So now that we have our flour down, we are just going to plop our dough onto there. Got our dough on there. And you are literally going to knead this for 10 minutes. That's 10 whole minutes. And you're gonna get quite a bit of a workout, but this is what it takes to make the salt dough. My preferred method is you just sort of put a lot of weight down on your palm and then sort of fold the dough back on itself and just keep putting a lot of weight down on your palms. And you can actually do it with both hands. So you could do it like that. And you just want to make sure you're really putting all of your weight into it and working the dough, and you keep folding it out onto itself. And again, we're going to do this for 10 minutes until the dough is all like uniform, and the texture should change a bit as well. So I'm going to work out for 10 minutes and I'll see you guys then. I have my dough ball here. I'm only a little exhausted from those 10 minutes of kneading, but now we're ready to roll it out or stretch it out, cut out our pieces, and then bake them so that we can paint them. So I'm going to cut my dough ball in half just because I'm gonna stretch these pretty thin to about a centimeter, and I don't think this will fit that. And then we're just gonna do our best to roll it out as evenly as possible to make sure that some parts don't burn while others stay uncooked. But since we're painting them, since we're not eating them, it doesn't really matter too much if you're not perfectly even here. So about a centimeter, which I was told was about the width of a pinky. I don't know, that's some grade 2 knowledge there. And just do your best to get it as even as possible. Looking good to me. I think they might rise a little bit in the oven because of the gluten we've developed. But grab your cookie cutters. I'm gonna do some ornaments. So I'm gonna do some circular ones. Whatever cookie cutters you have, feel free to play around with what kind of shapes you wanna do. There's all sorts of creative things you can do with these. It's a ton of fun. Okay, so I have some beautiful shapes cut out here, and we're just going to let them rest for 20 minutes because that's gonna let them get a little bit harder. Just ensure that we get that consistency after we bake it. And then while we're letting them rest for 20 minutes, we're going to go preheat the oven to 250 degrees. Okay, so now that our salt dough creations have been resting for 20 minutes, we're going to poke some holes in the top so that we can run some string through and then hang them up. So if you've got a straw, that's great, or you can use something like a toothpick or whatever you want, but we're just gonna make some little holes and then whoop. We've got all of our holes poked, and we're just going to set this on our baking sheet and throw it in the oven for a whole 2 hours. They're gonna get nice and hard, and then we're gonna let them cool, and then we can paint them. So I've taken my creations out of the oven, let them cool completely, and now we get to head to the craft room and paint them. Woo! And here we are at the craft desk. We've readied some paints in our little palette here. We've got some string for tying them up as ornaments if we want. And I've got 3 choice little salt dough creations here. I got a little gingerbread person. I'm gonna do this one as an ugly ornament and this one as some kind of star. I've got a brush here, some paper towel, and some water for cleaning my brushes between colors. Really all this is up to you from here on out. It's about as creative as you want to get. Again, you don't have to do holiday ornaments. You can do whatever you want. But I'm just going to kind of show you how I paint it. I'll show you the different coats. I do 2 to 3 coats. Then I'll show you the finished product and really just have as much fun with it as possible. Okay, so I'm sure you've painted before. So I'm just going to load up my brush with some of our acrylic paint. I'm going to do an ugly ornament, as I said. So I'm just going to get an okay amount on there. Again, I'm no artist. So again, the emphasis is on creativity, and you're just gonna paint it, have fun with it. You're just painting this hard dough essentially, and you just kind of want to get even coverage and get as close to your desired product as possible. So I'm going to cover this with a coat of red paint on the parts that I want to do, and I'll show you the finished product when we do the second coat. So I've got my first coat done. Some will look better than others, and that's okay. But what we're gonna do now is just put on a second coat, maybe a third one, until we're happy with the way it's looking. And then if you want, you can take some googly eyes, take some glue, throw them on there. If you've got glitter, you can use a little bit of glue or even just the wet paint and sprinkle it in. I don't actually have any glitter. But we're almost done, and then we get to hang it on the tree. So we've settled on 2 coats, and we've got a wonderful host of creations here. Shout out to Alyssa, the camera person, for doing this amazing Among Us cute little astronaut. And now all we gotta do is tie a string on them, and then we're ready to throw them on the tree. So I'm just gonna use Alyssa's star she made here because it's very dry. And whoop, and I mean, just tie a knot. That's all you gotta do. I imagine whoever's with you will show you how to tie said knot. But yeah, tie a knot, and then we get to throw it on the Christmas tree. Ooh! Here we are by the Christmas tree. I'm gonna hang up our ornaments. Again, our cute little Among Us astronaut there. And our sort of nervous looking gingerbread person. So cute. I hope you guys make this craft. If you do, please send us the ones that you make. We made a ton of creations, so we have like, I don't know, 12 more to paint, and I'm very excited. And again, if you really like them, you can cover them in resin and they will keep for a very long time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.